In this synthesis for reading, we're going to dive into the big five of reading, such as phonological awareness, phonics, comprehension, vocabulary, and fluency. So, to get started, we're going to start with phonological awareness. So phonological awareness is the key to being an effective reader. The characteristics of phonological awareness are onset and rhyme, and onset is the part of the syllable that is in front of the vowel of the syllable, and rhyme is the rest of that chunk. So to put an example with that, like if we had the word cat, k would be onset and at would be rhyme. So that's very important to figure out how to word things. Blending is going to be quite literally blending of the words together. For example, draw is an R blend word. Segmenting is how many syllables are in a word when it comes to syllable segmentation. But when it's sentence segmentation, it's separating words in a sentence. Phoneme isolating is identifying the individual sounds and words. A phoneme is the smallest, most basic unit of sound, while a grapheme is the smallest unit of writing. Phonological awareness is the awareness of language before reading and writing ever happen. I've seen this happen with my first grader, especially segmenting of both phoneme and sentences in order for a story that we were reading to make sense to her. And the picture that I've provided shows that phonological awareness is kind of an umbrella term, and there's lots of little things that fall underneath it, such as what we've discussed. So, moving on. Phonics is a little more in depth, and that's our next one. It describes aspects. Phonics is going to be aspects such as consonant blends, vowel digraphs, and more. Phonics is made up of consonant blends, which are words like try, train, drain, where it's going to be those two consonants that make a blending sound. This is a bit more in depth than the practice we learned about beforehand. Vowel digraphs, which are combinations of vowels to make one vowel sound. And diphthongs, which are, they're basically just gliding vowels. They're going to go from the back to the front. They're going to make a nice gliding sound. In my first grade placement last semester, there was a heavy emphasis on all these aspects in order for them to be successful in second grade. For example, every day they would have to come up with their own R blend word, such as try, train, or drain, because that was an area that they had been struggling in. So moving on, we have comprehension, and comprehension can show itself in many forms. Some of those are shown, so we have visual, and on the left we have a little sheep. So if we're reading a story about a sheep and we see that, but the student says lamb, we know that they're understanding it, but it's a visual comprehension. Then we have semantic, which is going to be meaning. So at the top we have happy birthday. So if they see that it's a story about happy birthday, they're going to kind of get the gist of it because they know the meaning. Meanwhile, we have syntactic, and that's going to be the girl cried, the boy played, where they know the structure and they're familiar with it. There are different levels of comprehension, level 1 being literal, level 2 being interpretive, and level 3 being evaluative. Good readers engage in metacognition as they read. A metacognitive reader is able to consciously and automatically select the appropriate comprehension strategies. I was in a fourth grade classroom this semester, and it really was cool to see them have that metacognition down already and be able to see, because I was in an ELAR classroom, to see which appropriate strategies they needed to use, whether it was syntactic, if it was level 1, whatever it was in that comprehension. So moving on, we have vocabulary. So there are different types of words. Functional words have little lexical meaning. They signal the structural relationship that words have to one another. They are the glue of sentences. Content words are words that convey meaning, such as objects, real things, etc. Interest words are words that are interesting, like the name. Examples are baseball, McDonald's, etc. They are often part of a child's environment. Then we also have tiers, and tier 1 is known common words, usually the most basic. Tier 2 is high frequency, high utility, multiple meanings, strongly influence speaking and reading. Tier 3 is going to be specific to content domain, low frequency words that include subjects and areas of interest. And then moving on to word walls, the purpose of a word wall is to have high frequency words in plain sight every day. The only way this is effective is if it's constantly interacted with, or else it will be forgotten. So talking about that, I had a fourth grade classroom this semester, as I said, and it was interesting to see the lower socioeconomic students were more tier one, and the students that came from a higher income used more specific words. So on to fluency. There are 6 dimensions of fluency. We have pausing, phrasing, stress, intonation, rate, and integrating. So I have this visual to the side that shows as they get more towards the top, they're going to be more fluent and more towards that metacognition, which is very important. And then ultimately, how does this all connect? Is it possible to have one without the other? The easiest way to think of all this is building blocks. Phonological awareness lays the foundation for the aspects of phonics. As it says in this, you really can't have one without the other, and so everything is especially important.